a valve that you adjust right here to adjust the steering pressure for left and right. This tractor was steering real easy to the right and was really hard to steer to the left. I adjusted this valve backwards, and I mean it's a minute adjustment to get this from left to right. As you're adjusting, you'll hear the engine tone change. You can tell it starts to load up the engine when you get it too far, and it'll start to turn the wheels by itself. What I did here, I had Ronald turn the wheel left and right to adjust it to make sure that we got the same pressure turning left and right on it. According to the book, you're supposed to use a pressure gauge. I tried to put a pressure gauge in there to make an adapter. I had a leak and it didn't work. You can see the oil sprayed out on the ground. Big deal. It's just as simple. Loosen those 4 bolts. These 4 bolts right here. And like I say, it's a minute adjustment, forward or backward, to get that steer, and you can feel it. So we didn't need a gauge. But we got it now. Now it steers just as even to the left as it does to the right. So that's how you make the adjustment on it. Okay, looking at the service manual for the 720 John Deere and centering the valve housing for the steering. And here it is. You can see it's shown there. They're using a pressure gauge. It says use a 1500 psi or greater pressure gauge, and you center this valve forward or backwards to, I guess, you get the same pressure reading whether the tractor's running or when you turn the steering wheel. I'm not sure how that works out, but we tried it. I had a leak in my pressure gauge, as I showed you there, and we just bumped this back and forth with loosened these 4 bolts and just bumped that. And I'm telling you that the adjustment was so minute. At first I made a big adjustment on it, and boy, the steering just took off on its own. You couldn't hardly hold it. It was that much pressure on it. So I figured that wasn't the way it was minute adjustments, which is what I did. I brought it back to where we started, then took a very, very minute adjustment to get the steering even on it, and now we've got it. And it says here in the manual, it says if the wheel turns harder to the left, tap the housing rearward. Conversely, if the wheel turns harder to the right, tap the valve housing forward. Well, we were turning real easy to the right. I mean, the tractor would drift by itself, and it was hard to turn to the left, especially for the kids whenever they would drive it. It was really hard. You really had to muscle it around. So I tapped it backwards, and I say I maybe moved it 1/16 of an inch, maybe an 1/8 of an inch at the most, and that give us the right adjustment to where we wanted to be. So that's how you adjust the centering valve for the steering on John Deere 720. That's it.